all those good classic minds. I saw them on the shelf in one of the bookstores. I thought they were awesome, kind of an awesome collection together. I thought, hey, maybe I would like that collection. So I thought, I love Parley P. Pratt. I'll jump into the Essential Parley P. Pratt and we'll read through it. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to give this book 3 stars. Now, this is weird because normally I would give anything by Parley P. Pratt, for the most part, 4 stars. But I do think that the content is phenomenal because it's Parley P. Pratt. I'm just going to say that. The existence of the book itself, the value of the compilation, in some context, is a 2-star. So I'm going to balance it out to 3. I'm going to explain why. Okay. So in this, Signature Books has gone through and collected things that they believe are essential to Parley P. Pratt. And so they've gotten the early pamphlets and all that good stuff. Now, to give you a little bit of background, Parley P. Pratt was probably the earliest apologist in the church ever. I mean, this guy wrote A Voice of Warning, Keys to Theology. He wrote the big, Voice of Warning was the first big pamphlet that really, and it wasn't just a pamphlet, like we're talking booklet, like full-fledged publication, that probably had the single largest converting power in the church. I mean, it explained why there needed to be a restoration. I think people joined the church reading A Voice of Warning sometimes before they ever read through the Book of Mormon. And that was published in the mid-1830s in New York. And then he eventually was assassinated in 56, I believe, 1856. Yeah, somewhere around there. Give or take a year. Sorry about that. Okay, his contribution to the church is outstanding. So was his brother Orson Pratt. Another conversation. He lived to ripe old age, and of course, that's another story in and of itself. But the Pratt brothers, Parley P. Pratt, huge and instrumental in the development of the doctrine of the church. Joseph Smith supported him in a lot of contexts, in a lot of ways. Parley P. Pratt's my brother. I love him. He's the man. He is, to me, one of the best writers in the early history of the church. Hands down. I think other reason why I think Brigham and Orson had struggles is I think Brigham was threatened by Orson. Just throwing it out there. Okay? So with that being said, why do I struggle with this book? I struggle with this book because the best things in this book are actually excerpts of books that if you're at all interested in Parley P. Pratt, just read those books. Don't read the excerpts. Don't read the one chapter out of A Voice of Warning. Go get A Voice of Warning and read A Voice of Warning by Parley P. Pratt. Read the whole content, not just a chapter of it, right? If you want the best chapter in the Keys to Theology, it's not in this book. It's in the Keys to Theology. Read the Keys to Theology. Don't read just that one chapter. The autobiography of Parley P. Pratt, which is a classic, I would recommend people read it. Don't just read the excerpts from the autobiography. So, although the content's phenomenal, there are some great pamphlets that he wrote that don't have a solid distribution. And they're great, they're interesting, they're good. But the keys, the essentials, aren't the excerpts, they're the books themselves. So here, I would never give anything by Parley less than 3 stars. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. However, if you're interested in this book, don't get it. Go get A Voice of Warning, Keys to the Science of Theology, and then go get the autobiography by Parley P. Pratt. And what you will get is you will get a wealth of just information and context that is phenomenal. And those are all 4-star books in and of themselves. And then you're going to have read 80% of this book. Yes, there's some pamphlets out there that he wrote that were neat, that said neat things, but just go to the source of the 3 major contributions to Parley P. Pratt, and you won't even need this book. So there's my review of the book. 3 stars. Go get the real source material that's readily available. It's all public domain. It's all cheap. You can all buy full copies of those 3 books for less than you'll be able to buy this. I'm not even sure if this is still in or out of print, but it hasn't made me interested in getting to the other books in the series because the Essential Teachings of Joseph Smith, I'm not really sure what else they're going to do that I haven't already read in other contexts. Same with Brigham Young. Orson Pratt, if I've read the bulk of his work, I'm not sure I'm going to jump into. And B.H. Roberts. B.H. Roberts might be one I pick up on because his stuff is a little harder just to jump into. and find anywhere and everywhere. With that being said, thank you, ldsbookreviews.com if you're interested for more. Thanks.